How are we doing, guys? And welcome back to All Leeds TV. It's a massive one. A statement has been made tonight. A statement has been made. And not a political style statement. A proper statement has been made by Leeds United. Not the statements you get from Keir Starmer. Not the statements you get from Rishi Sunak. This is a proper statement from Leeds United today. Winning at possibly, arguably, the best championship team of all time that we keep getting told. Wow. Absolutely massive. But to be fair, that man to my left said it would happen. He believed. I thought he was a madman, but he was cooking. CK, we did it. Did you think we'd do it like that?
I did say 2-1, mate. So the goal difference is right, but I didn't think we'd reduce Leicester to as little as they had in 7 minutes of football. Yeah, they hit the bar, but it's not like I can't think of. And then obviously in the last minute the Meslier save. But apart from that, what did they really do? Not a lot. And then you look at that against the chances that we created. A lot of them half chances, granted, but we had far more in the final third than they did throughout that game. I thought we were utterly brilliant from back to front today. I can't pick a poor player out. I'm sure some people will say, Pirro, but actually, no, the amount of work he got through, joining that front four up as well, little touches, knocks here and there, keeping the moves going. I thought all of them, mate, from 1 to 11 were absolutely superb tonight. Normally we can pick out a couple where we're like, not great, but not tonight, mate. I thought every man did the job brilliantly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we did have a bit of criticism. I certainly had a bit of criticism for Meslier and Pirro. I thought Meslier's made this save of the season, I think, in the second half, late on there. Absolutely outstanding save. And then Pirro, I think the goals will come for Pirro. He's getting the chances. He's making the movements. I think he set up a couple of nice little counter-attacks. I don't think he's playing particularly badly or anything like that. I just think there's another gear for him to go up. But guys, in the chat, make sure you're getting that chat. Give us your thoughts on the game. Who stood out in particular? Because there's one man I need to go on to. I hate to make it all about one player, but it was a really, really special performance. It's Joe Rodon. I know others will say Kamara, Ampadu, and you'd be perfectly in your rights to do so. I think up to about 70 minutes, as I said, Kamara and Ampadu have won us that game. But Joe Rodon, late on, and throughout the game, to be fair, absolutely majestic. Penalty blocks defending, last-minute blocks, last-minute, tackles, throwing himself everywhere, getting everything spot on, and just leading the whole back line. We didn't drop deep. We didn't panic. He just kept it calm. And steering his tackles when he needed to. He was just controlled about everything he did. And he, to me, I know Pascal is literally our captain, but really he feels like the captain to me. Nothing against Pascal at all. I know he is technically the captain, but it feels like to me that Joe Rodon is the leader of that team. He's the one that really fires the team up. And the difference when he's on and off the pitch is absolutely unbelievable. You saw in that second half against Huddersfield. We've seen in Southampton away. We've seen at the start of the season, the Cardiff game, Birmingham game, the drop points early in the season. If only he'd been available at the start of the season, along with Joe Pirro, along with these other players, I honestly think we'd be second right now. I really do. I think we would have won those first couple of games that we dropped points in. But nevertheless, they're here now. Jed Spencer's to come back as well. It just feels weird being positive about Leeds before the weekend's even started. It feels like all the stress of the weekend's just gone now, which is just so This is like, we haven't had this for like 3 years. This is so weird, CK.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? I mean, I agree with you about Rodon, mate. The muted £15 million it'll cost us to buy him at the end of the season is looking an absolute steal. I'm not going to lie, because I know people will say, it's the championship. That's a very good Leicester side we've come up against tonight, and he looks every bit a Premier League player to me. And I agree, mate. I think Pascal's learning an awful lot from him. I really do, about positional sense and where to put yourself. Because Pascal again on his own tonight was very, very good, but Rodon just pull him round the pitch, be there, do this, do that, and the quality drop off when Rodon isn't on the pitch is massive. So I hope we, getting off topic a little bit, but I hope we strengthen in there with another one maybe in the January window. But he's an absolute machine, mate. And I think Glenn Kamara's looking an absolute steal as well. Ampadu's a steal. That three in there is just, well, four. Let's include Pascal in it. It'd be rude to exclude him. That four in there, that block is so solid now. Ampadu's just everywhere, but has got that passing him as well, as we saw in the first half to Chris Somerville, just pinged one about 70 yards. He's an all-round, he's almost a box-to-boxer without actually getting forward that much because he's got everything else in his game. Just wicked, mate. I thought Dan James was very good again as well. The amount of work he put in tonight, giving Archie Gray, who had a good game as well, but backing Archie Gray up and also pushing Archie Gray. You know, you go to the byline, you could see him pointing, you got the byline, I've got if he comes back inside. I just thought they were brilliant, mate. Byram, solid again, especially after getting booked quite early on. And he was a tricky winger.
He had like a bad 10 minutes against Fatawu, who, he hit the bar, didn't he? And he had that sort of 10-minute spell. I thought, Sam, this is looking like a long 60 minutes coming up. But
gets the header, mate, for the goal in the end.
Yeah, exactly. And it feels like, Sam Byram used to do that a lot when he first came through. He was real threat on set pieces. I do remember. I think
terrific movement.
Yeah, I remember him scoring a few from corners as well. So he's, it's brilliant to see him using. He's a lot taller than you think, Sam Byram as well. Like I always have in my head, he's like, sort of like 5'7", 5'8", sort of Dan James size, but he's not. He's actually, he's bigger than what you think he is. So great to see that. And then Gio Ruta as well.
Mate, buzzing for him.
Tiptoes. Yeah, he deserves a goal. I mean, It seems mad saying he deserves a goal. It suggests he hasn't been at it, but he has been absolutely at it. But he's been creating for everyone else. It's like, how about I get some service myself for once? He did, and he scored. Absolutely fair play to him. But just to talk about on Joe Rodon, I think Mr. Daniel Levy will be very quickly renegotiating that clause. I think something will be getting added into that. And the force of having to deal with Daniel Levy to try and get a player like that, and obviously Jed Spence as well. Obviously, Jed Spence is probably more far-fetched on the permanent, but we might have to deal with the toughest negotiator in football, but we're pretty tough negotiators as well. So that'll be an interesting battle that between Nick Hammond and Daniel Levy. Because I'm surely we're going to be looking at something like that on a permanent deal. This isn't going to be a repeat of the Ben White, Cal Bartley situation.
Exactly, mate. This is what I'm thinking, right? Is, fingers crossed, and we've made a real statement tonight about chasing that top two down, or certainly Ipswich. We know, I mean, it's only 11 points to Leicester, but not a lot of teams are going to get past them this season. They are a machine. We just shut it down tonight. But yeah, someone like Rodon, he's been at the club, he knows the club, and like you say, we don't want to make the Ben White mistake again. He's relatively cheap for the quality that he brings, and it's one less player to go and find. He already knows the club, he already knows the Daniel Farke way of playing, and he stays where he is, he slots in, jobs are good, and then we can go off and strengthen other positions where we have to go hunt players. But I mean, that's for another day, innit? I just thought the block of his nose was just unbelievable. It just stood up. A lot of players there are turning their backs and shrugging out the way. He just stood there and took one square in the face. I'm like,
and he started shouting at a Leicester player saying, "You should have hit that harder, mate. I want to break the nose there." He just loves it. He's like, Green Street?
Yeah.
No, not Green Street, sorry. It's the same actor. Have you seen Mike Bassett, the film?
Yeah. Long time.
Wacko on it.
Yeah.
He's like Gary Wackett off that. Yeah. He's just like... But he's got a lot more technical quality than that. I'm not comparing him to like a hooligan on that, but he's hard as nails, isn't he, Joe Rowe? And that's the point I'm trying to emphasise. He's that stereotypical...
He's a proper centre-back, mate. He's a proper centre-back.
He's a proper Leeds centre-half, isn't he? You look at him, you say, that's a Leeds player, that. Straight away, that is a Leeds United footballer that we've seen before our eyes. Just to go through some of the comments here. Yeah, Glenn Kamara. I mean, Glenn Kamara just controlled the game. We totally outplayed. The likes of Winks, Dewsbury Hall, been outstanding this season. I thought he showed them both up, really. I thought he completely dominated that midfield.
I didn't see the prodigal Keenan Dewsbury Hall until the 96th minute when he put Melier made that save. I thought he was bang quiet. And what I like about Kamara and how Farke seems to have found in this position is we're clearly targeting teams' left-hand sides with Cree and Gio Ruta goes out there. But Kamara makes a third man there in some kind of massive overload. And his engine's huge. He's just up and down. I thought he was absolutely quality, and it also helps him that he's got someone like Ethan Ampadu stood behind him who he can trust. To go and break up the play if Kamara's caught a bit higher up. They complement each other brilliantly, and obviously we've got young Archie who can play in there as well if one of them's not available. So that central midfield all of a sudden just looks mega strong.
It looks outstanding. It feels weird having a good centre midfield and a good centre back pairing. Again, we've not had this for a long time. But Ampadu, I mean,
fix the spine, mate, innit? Fix the spine, and then you can repair the rest as you go.
Exactly, and I mean you've got the talent there, within the spine. Outside of that, you've got Somerville, Rutter there, two big match winners. Perot, who I'm sure is going to start banging in the goals again. The signs are there he's going to start banging in the goals again.
Yeah,
and you've got likes of Nonto off the bench. There's Anthony on the bench. There's options there. This is a good team we've put together. This is a team that's good enough for me to get top two. Okay, there's parts of the squad where you say is the left back situation ideal. Again, it's quite minor stuff at this moment in time in terms of how you really get more out of this Leeds team. You've got
it's minor stuff. I think you're right. I think it's minor stuff in this league.
Yeah.
It's got to be repaired if we go up because,
Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, look at Burnley. I mean, Burnley was as good as anyone, in terms of last season, what we've seen at this level. And then this season, they can't buy a win. And, it's with essentially the same group of players, even with some signings. So I'm under no illusions. But at this level, I don't think it's realistic to have 11, 10 out of 10 players. There is going to be parts of the squad where you think, okay, we've got a solid player there. But I think there's enough to push for top two quality-wise now. I think most teams would kill to have, a Rutter or Somerville in the team. Never mind both in the team.
From a technical ability standpoint, for me, and, fans of other teams will maybe argue otherwise, but me, for Gio Rutter's the standout player in this league for technical ability. He's filthy, mate. And he didn't have his most expressive game tonight, but it wasn't a game to do that. It was a game to be tidy and keep hold of the ball. And I thought he did it brilliantly and then stood in the right place. And again, that's why I don't worry about Pirro either, because it could have just as easily been Pirro stood there on the 6-yard line, knocking that in. It's just that Gio was there and I'm buzzing for him because, like you say, he's been setting up chances and goals for everyone else. And I just saw his interview after the match, and the lad's as mad as a box of frogs. He's the new Gianni. He's an absolute head case, and I love him for it.
What was it you said on WhatsApp? He's a mixture of Alioski. He's a unit like Berardi.
He's got the strength of Berra, especially when he's pushing players out the way and getting into him. He's got a bit of Pablo in him. He can see a pass, and he does little tricky things. And he's as mad as Alioski, man. He's like a little amalgamation of them all. He
composes your dream footballer.
He's my favourite player to watch at the minute. Not just Leeds based, just football wise. I absolutely love watching him doing what he does.
And he just plays on pure vibes. It's pure vibes. He's like an 80s footballer, isn't he? An 80s or 90s footballer, in terms of everyone's trying to absolutely basically break his legs with every tackle that goes in on him. But he just rides it. He just brushes other players off. I just love it. He's just a classic 80s, 90s, early 2000s kind of footballer. You don't see enough of them these days. Footballers become robots, but Somerville as well. I think for me, listen, Rutter, I think is the best player to watch in the league in terms of from a technical point of view. But I would say Somerville's the best player in terms of what the output he gives you as well, in terms of the goals, just everything, the ferocious running.
Yeah, probably is in his technical ability in the position he plays. Yeah, I'd probably agree with you, mate, that Cree is probably. I think it's the unpredictability of Rutter that just shades it for me, because I don't think his brain knows what his legs are going to do half the time, and it just works.
But in a good way, not in a Hagi Sacco kind of way, in a good way, in a productive way. We're not saying square it, Gigi, square it. It's in a good way. So he's just phenomenal. I mean, both players. The fact that I don't think either player was at their absolute best, but still played a massive part in the win. Absolutely unbelievable stuff. I need to talk as well. We did sort of touch on Archie Gray, but Archie Gray playing out of position. Yes, I know he's played there for England. He's played there a few games for Leeds, but out of position, up against Mavi Didi, I just thought absolutely phenomenal performance from him today. It was a big call from Daniel Farker, obviously with Shackleton out injured. Other senior options at right back. Daniel Farker stuck with Archie Gray, and he's really reaped the rewards of that, because there was one moment in the second half which I think sums up Archie Gray perfectly as a footballer. I think it was around 70, 75 minutes, if anyone wants to watch this back, because I would highly recommend watching this back. Leicester set piece, Leicester corner, ball comes in, Joe Rodon wins it. I think it's either Dewsbury Hall or Cassadai head it back towards goal. It kind of goes nowhere. The attack kind of breaks down. The whole set piece breaks down. The ball just lands at Archie Gray's feet in the penalty area, in the 6-yard box. He's got a Leicester player here. He's got a Leicester player right in front of him there. Leicester player to the side of him. Anyone else is just smashing that ball as far as they can. Glenn Kamara is stood about 10 yards ahead of him. He plays the ball in between both Leicester players into Glenn Kamara, and we almost make it 2-0 in that moment. And obviously, the Glenn Kamara pass after that, I think it's either Somerville or Rutter. I think it was Somerville, actually, who had the run. No, actually, it was Dan James, actually, who had the run, got a shot off. I think Don Goodman was talking a lot about Kamara's pass, but for me, it was Archie Gray. That composure for 17 years old. Biggest game of the season so far. Probably will be our biggest game of the season. Coming towards the last bits of the game where you just want to just get the ball out as far away as possible from you. Absolutely superb composure. And it just sums up Archie Gray as a professional footballer.
No, I agree, mate. And I thought midway through the first half, their winger was giving him a bit of a torrid time for about 10, 15 minutes. But what I liked about Archie was, mate, he didn't shy away from it. And, he's a 17-year-old kid. He could have easily wilted there. A lot of kids would have done and just gone, I'm getting my arse handed to me now. But he stuck to his guns, mate, and then he grew into it. And I didn't see their left-hand side really get the way against him beyond that. I thought his communication with Melier was very good when they were firing balls in. Like you say, he just doesn't panic, the lad. He's got such a clear footballing brain. Clearly coming through the dynasty that he comes from. It's genetic. He just looked. There was a tackle he made as well around halfway, but he doesn't let the ball go out of play when he's made a tackle, and all of a sudden he springs us off in the other direction. I just thought he's 17 years old, mate. Wow, what a footballer! Clearly can play in multiple positions already. The manager's trusting him over seasoned pros who, yes, are beyond their probably life cycle at Leeds United now, but like you say, in a statement game, chasing the league leaders away, and he trusts a 17-year-old kid in there, says so much for him. Really pleased for him, mate. He looked buzzing as well at the end when all the players were celebrating with the fans. I thought, yeah, good lad. He's Leeds through and through, isn't he? Love him.
He is, absolutely. And if we ever get into a situation, I've said it last video, if you ever get into a situation where Archie Gray attracts interest from other clubs, we can always use Eddie. It's Eddie to have a word. Eddie, have a word, Eddie. It's something, isn't it? It's quite something. The Archie Gray, sorry, not the Archie Gray, the Gray dynasty at this football club is absolutely phenomenal.
They were saying on comms that during Byram's first time at Leeds, coming up through the ranks, he actually played with Andy. So, this is his second generation of Grays that he's played with now at Leeds, and Byram's still only 26 or something.
Mate, he looks about 21. He looks about 19, to be honest. He hasn't aged. That man has just not aged at all.
Like Benjamin Button, isn't he? He's going backwards.
Just hasn't aged. He really is this season's Stuart Dallas as well. I'm just going to leave you with that thought. I'm just going to put my headphones in because I think we've got a bit of rain, a bit of a shower on the parade. But yeah, I'm going to leave you that thought. Sam Barron, is he this season's Stuart Dallas? In terms of when we got promoted, is he that just solid player who just can play anywhere in this team?
I think, you know what? I think that's a really good shout, and I think it just comes down to being solid. I just like the way he goes about his game. And, I held my hands up. I said when he came back, I wasn't keen because of his injury record and all the rest of it, but he's been brilliant this season as Sam Byram, up there with one of the players of the season so far for me. I just think he's a mega player, or he has been this season. And, had a hard time with injuries and stuff like that, Norwich, etc. But no, like I say, I doubted him coming back. I'm not one who likes to see the past return, but fair play to Sam. He's come and been absolutely massive this season. So, yeah, brilliant. And, yeah, I think it's fair to compare him to what Stewie Dallas was doing for us a couple of seasons ago, and just being that go-to man that the manager can trust put in there, and he'll do a job.
Can you hear the rain on my mic? Oh, good, good. Let us know if you can, but I think it's okay now. It's died off a little bit. A bit like Leicester. It was a threat at first, and it's just kind of just disappeared a little bit.
No Interlagos, then, is it?
Honestly, before it was like Brazil, and F1 fans will get that reference, right? Sam Barham, the reason it reminded me a lot of Stuart Dallas was he did have that tough 10-15 minutes where he was starting to struggle a little bit, but the character to come through it, a bit like Archery on the other side. That's what impressed me most with both of them. You know, they do have some moments where maybe not so much youth on Sam Barham's side, but maybe that little bit of them being out of position does kind of tell from time to time. But then they just come through it. The characters come through it. The adaptability, the IQ to come through it. Every superlative you want to use, they do come through it. It's very rare you see Sam Barham drop below a 6 or 7 out of 10. He's just consistently solid.
What stands out for me, mate, is that in a short period of time, and with all the noise that went on in the summer, that Farke's managed to build a real team spirit. Because I think players like Cree Somerville and Dan James potentially saw that their fullbacks was, having a bit of a torrid time in the middle of the first half, and they just dropped back in, helped them out, doubled up all the time. And that's that real mentality of, now my mate's getting done a bit here, so I'm just going to go give man for 5-10 minutes. And, and I love to see it, mate. There's clearly a togetherness with this team. And a lot of credit has to go to Daniel Farke from where this squad was only 3 months ago to where it is now. It's just night and day. So, yeah, what's that? I'm just waiting for the morons, doom and gloom merchants to start picking faults. Anyone picking faults in that display is just got some kind of weird agenda that we won't even know what the agenda's about. It'll be really
actually, I was going to point out, minute 33 on here, Joel Perreault misplaced a pass, and I was fuming with him. That is the point I want to make. I'm only joking. But honestly, if anyone is genuinely picking out anything, actually, on 46 minutes, Crescencio Somerville ran the ball out of play. Honestly, there is no one who can possibly pick any faults with that. It's absolutely amazing.
I think, in fairness, and I will big us up on this channel, is we always try and be, fair when we're giving assessments on games. I've been uber critical in the past, very recent past, sort of last season times, of what this team was about and its mentality and its performances. It was shocking. But when it's bloody good and great and damn near perfect, then you say it as it is. We'll have plenty of down days in the future where we're coming back going, oh God, that was crap.
But probably when next week in Leeds,
we'll be brilliant. Yeah, exactly. We've got Plymouth next. Just watch us do a Leeds. You said it the other day.
Oh, the curse could happen. The curse could happen. It really could happen. The crazy thing is, right, real talk now, we drew at home to Sheffield Wednesday, possibly the worst championship team of all time. We've just gone and beaten Leicester away. This is Leeds. It's just the championship, isn't it? It's just...
It is, mate. One, it's the championship, and I think, this squad's in a far different place to where it was even when we were playing Wednesday early in the season at home. I think if we were playing them next week, it would be a very different outcome. I think we'd absolutely knock them round the pitch.
Huddersfield again.
Yeah, it would, mate. It'd be a 45 minutes, put them to bed, job done type thing. So I like the trajectory we're on, mate. This team's just getting better and better. And, I've got to say it. And I fired warning shots when the takeover happened. I was like, I'm not sure what the fair play to the 49ers, mate. They've been very good about the business. The noisy players they've backed Farke with, well, if you don't want him in the squad, fine, don't have him in the squad. They've not involved themselves in that. They've gone out and been really astute in the signings. Ampadu, Kamara, Pirro, players like that. Fair play to them as well, mate. And it just feels like it's all coming together. And I don't like to get carried away, but I can't help but get carried away when we go to the best performing championship team of many years. I think, and that's a true stat. I can't remember what year they put it down to, but it was like 1905 or something. Since then, and we've not just beaten 1-0. There was no smash and grab about this.
I was just going to say that team in 1905. I bet that was managed by Neil Warnock as well.
Probably. Probably down in London as well. Bloody London, we get nothing in London.
Paddy Kenny and Michael Tonga in the team.
Michael Brown, mate.
I actually know Paddy Kenny as well, so that's only a joke. That's only a joke, that one. But listen, let's move on to as well. Another side I saw of this Leeds team, which I don't think we've seen a lot of this season, the pressing, the energy out of possession. We haven't seen, that front four gets most of its praise for what it does on the ball, but off the ball today, covered every blade of grass. Glenn Kamara, Ampadu backed it up. Sometimes you've seen Pascal literally dropping into Leicester's own penalty area and winning the ball back from their own goal kick. It was just phenomenal. It was man to man. It was very Bielsa-like, but it wasn't chaotic. We actually got back into shape very quickly. If Leicester were able to play out or went long, we got back into shape. And I honestly, I looked at that from a Daniel Farke point of view and thought, we're really evolving as a team. Tactically, we're getting better and better. Individuals are getting better and better. I honestly think we're starting to head towards where we could potentially put a bit of a run together at some point this season that could really fire us into that top two conversation properly. I mean, we're in it already, but I mean, properly, make ourselves at home. We've seen it with his Norwich teams. I think his Norwich team in 2018-19, I think they won something stupid like 13 out of 15. Got themselves, I mean, we all remember when they beat us at Ellen Road. To be honest, that game at Ellen Road, whenever it was, I think it was 2019, that was very similar to today. Just that Norwich team was a little bit more clinical in front of goal. We probably defended a bit worse than what Leicester did. It was a similar kind of statement. And, those kind of statements really do go a long way because Ipswich tomorrow, a little bit of pressure on them tomorrow. I think their next two games are away. Yes, it's 2 games in hand, technically, in terms of games played. Birmingham and Rotherham. Pressure's on them now. Now they've seen us go and win at Leicester. They had that tight win at Plymouth, at home to Plymouth, sorry. 2 tricky-ish away games. Wayne Rooney, what is you going to cook up for us there, son? What have you got cooking? Probably nothing, but it's the hope that kills you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Probably cooking up the sack. You could see it, couldn't you? You could actually see him getting sacked tomorrow.
Yeah. Do you know what? Going back to the press, mate, what I liked about it was it's actually, and I'm not one for delving into tactics massively. I'm very much a vibes type fan. I don't tend to overly scrutinise anything, but the press was really clever that unless it called for it, we didn't press the keeper. We let the keeper have it as soon, and I think they mentioned it in commentary as well. As soon as the keeper passed it, then we went as a unit, a front four, and just blocked all avenues as much as we could. And then, like you say, Kamara and Ampadu then pushed up into the space. The back four followed them up. It was very, very tactically astute from Farke on how to shut Leicester down. They had no opportunity to play through the lines and into space. None. I thought we were brilliant. Oh, exactly. I agree with this from Ben, 100%. And that will upset a lot of fans.
He's fit every game for starters. Availability is everything. Peak KP, in terms of when he's at the Euros, absolutely, probably still go peak KP. But we're talking about KP right now. Is anyone seriously taking KP right now over Ethan Ampadu? Not a chance for me. Not a chance.
No.
You have to look at what KP is right now. He's not playing for Man City. Yes, I know how good that Man City team is. But he doesn't look good when he plays for him either. And it was quite sad to see in a way. It is quite sad to see. But we have to move on. And for me, Ethan Ampadu right now is far better suited to what Daniel Farke wants. And I'd probably add Glenn Kamara into that. I'm saying they're better than what KP was
also,
when he played in the Euros.
Also, I think we saw, that Calvin, for me, couldn't play in a double pivot. He very much excelled in the Bielsa single pivot and, being that linchpin between defence and attack. But Farke clearly likes a double in there with Kamara and Ampadu or Gray and Ampadu, whatever it may be. And that doesn't suit Calvin either. So, again, thinking tactically and how the manager wants to play, and you buy players to suit the manager's tactics, Ampadu and Kamara all day long. Don't change your winning formula, mate. And them two in there at the minute are absolute magic together.
Exactly, and it takes the pressure off Archie Gray having to play those minutes. Why would you take, I just saw some comments, and this particular comment obviously isn't referring to Calvin coming in January on loan. Makes no sense to me. That rumour. I know it was only a rumour, but it just makes absolutely no sense to me.
Mate, he won't go anywhere on loan. He'll get another club and he'll probably fly again in another club. It's just not worked for him at City. He doesn't get enough minutes and, he's clearly rusty as hell. So he'll move on and he'll get a move and he'll be fine. Anyone thinking he's going to look back to the Championship just because it's Leeds.
Sit on the bench
absolute dream world.
Glenn.
He
genuinely would be at this moment in time. Like, people will laugh about this, but Wilfred Gnonto can't get in the Leeds team at the minute. And he's got equally, he's an Italian international like KP is an English international. It's all about the system under Daniel Farke, and that's the way it should be. Too long. We talk about, obviously, KP not being looking good in the double pivot, but that's under Jesse Marsch as well. I mean, to be fair, I think Messi would struggle to look.
I'm not going to lie. Yeah, you could have put Messi in there. He didn't look like a Sunday League footballer playing penis ball, wouldn't he? But yeah.
Anyway, let's move on to. Let's just see. There was something else I saw in here. Let's see. Yeah, Jed Spence is one we need to talk about as well. I mean, when he comes into the team as well, I mean, it's just an extra element to this side. It's just going to be phenomenal stuff, isn't it, CK?
Oh, mate, 100%. I mean, he's, as a right back, he's the next level up that we're looking for. Shax does a job in there. Archie's doing a job in there. Ayling used to do a job in there. Jed Spence is a next level right back, and it's unfortunate he's been injured, but yeah, when he comes in, mate, I mean, it just adds a different dimension to this team because he will frighten players. And then you've got a Dan James up ahead of him, a Gio Rutter coming out to connect with him. That's frightening. That will scare a lot of teams in this league. So it's only going to get better, mate. And I don't think the 49ers will be one to rest on the laurels in the winter window either. Don't get me wrong, we're not going to go mad because we're still in very much a stage of balancing the books from dropping out the Premier League. But I do think we'll see a couple in, and they won't be gap fillers. I think, again, it'll be a case of better than what we've got or someone very close to who can come in and do a job. So it's just exciting, mate. And it's so nice after the last couple of seasons and managers rolling in and out last season, lunatics doing lunatic things, and then and there is a little bit of added lovely stuff that most of the players who buggered off out on loan because they didn't want any part of it. None of them are having a great time.
Brendan Aronson is basically, he's like, I don't know I saw something about Union Berlin, like basically just their own fans basically slandering him now at this point. It's just
they've lost something like the last 8 games or something.
Yeah, he's it's going well. It's going well. But the thing to say as well is, right, imagine, okay, just theoretically here, say if we signed Joe Rodon last January, okay, can you imagine Joe Rodon, like, what he had done to Robin Koch and Diego Llorente playing alongside him? Had they done some of the stupid things they did with the ball last season or defensively? It's absolutely bollocks them, wouldn't they? And that's the character Joe Rodon is. That's what we missed for the last sort of 2 years, is a character like that. Ethan Ampadu as well. It's just standards, I think, the set that doesn't get mentioned enough. As well as being colossuses on and off the ball, it's the standards he set. You can see straight away Joe Rodon. If we had, someone like that alongside Pascal, because let's be honest, Pascal before this season had a difficult 2 years. Particularly last season. The player's always been there. He just needed someone alongside him to sort of show him how it's done essentially. And I just think Joe Rodon, the difference in character, not just quality, character from him to a Robin Koch or Diego Llorente. Let's not forget, Joe Rodon wasn't even fully fit tonight.
No.
Do you think Robin Koch or Diego Llorente would have played tonight not fully fit?
No. Well,
Llorente
probably would have done, but then he'd have tripped over his own bootlaces running onto the pitch.
Well, yeah.
But, you talk about
away at Leicester, CK. We all remember it. The Llorente and Robin Koch horror show.
Yeah.
Horror show.
Do you know what, mate? It's any good team, if you want a successful team, and this doesn't matter whether you're a Sunday League team, a Premier League team, a rugby team, whatever it may be, is you need people in that group who, like you said, set standards. And every great team, and this, I'm not comparing us to them, I'm just talking about standards being set in a squad here. You look at that great Pep Guardiola team at Barcelona, you look at your Messis and all that, but you had your Pujols and stuff like that, Busquets, who set the standards. You will turn up. You will do what we expect you to do. Before all the other, apart from Messi, you can wander around and do what you want, son, because you're a little bit special.
But that's what we say to Rutter, to be fair.
Yeah. And there's got to be players in there that set those standards. And Rodon is clearly one of those who is like, no, the first thing you do is you do the basics of your job and you do them well. Then all the other stuff comes. And, again, I think Farke's a manager who set standards. And it showed when, with Nonto, when he had his little hissy fit. If you're not going to do what I want you to do and you're not going to meet the bare minimum standards that I want out of a player, go over there and run around on your own. You're nothing to do with us. And that's the kind of thing you need at a football club, mate. And I love the whole attitude, togetherness, everything that I'm seeing at the minute from this team. And also, we've had the odd blip, even recently against Stoke. We seem very capable of bouncing back now, whereas, for a while it was like, well, this is just going to roll on and roll on and roll on this. And again, yes, all right, the standard's different, Premier League to Championship, but it's still a mentality thing. It's still a case of, right, box that one off, didn't work, go again. And this lot are very much box that off, go again. I love it, mate. I'm thrilled to see it all. It just, yeah.
And it comes from the manager. You made that point about, Nonto and his, that song and dance he made at the start of the season. Very few managers, I think, have the balls to do what Daniel Farke did in terms of not just automatically starting Nonto week in, week out. In terms of the fact that we rejected a big bid, you think that put pressure on Daniel Farke to start him. And it's credit to the 49ers and it's credit to Farke, because I think under the previous regime, I think had they rejected a bid like that and Daniel Farke not started Nonto, I think the pressure would have started to tell. I think someone like Victor Orta would have probably, thrown his arms up in the air and said, why is he not starting? Why is he not starting? And I don't think someone like a Jesse Marsh would have had the balls to do that, or a Javi Gracia or a Sam Allardyce, etc., etc. I think they would have just started them anyway. I think it just shows a difference in trust and professionalism that no one player is bigger than the club. Sinisterra, I think previous, owners, I think would have really made a mess of that situation, because you have to think if Sinisterra had have stayed, you wouldn't be seeing Somerville on the left-hand side.
No.
He'd still be very good on the right-hand side, but in terms of the magic Somerville can produce, as good as what Sinisterra was, A, never fully fit, B, never produced performances of what Somerville's produced the last sort of 5 or 6 weeks in terms of all-round performances, taking on his man, involved for 90 minutes, just causing chaos kind of thing. I think, to be fair, Somerville this season has already bettered Sinisterra's. I think he's already bettered and almost doubles Sinisterra's total goal output for Leeds. Yes, I know it's different levels, but it just shows, how good Somerville's been for us and how we've used the opportunity and just been efficient. We've took the opportunity. I think previous Leeds managers, a Warnock. Imagine a Warnock, okay. The Sinisterra got walked out and all that. He said, "Oh, I'm doing the best job I can. That's what he was like, there, wasn't it? When he was at Leeds, I'm
off to Cornwall, leave me alone.
Yeah. It's like that. It's like as soon as he lost a player he wanted, when he lost Snodgrass, when Luciano left and that lot, etc. It was excuses after excuses from Warnock. Under Farke, it's just being, all right, sounds, we'll get on with it. We'll use an opportunity here. He doesn't want to be here. We'll play a player who does want to be here. And Somerville and Rutter, I honestly don't think that they've shined as much as they had this season, had the likes of Sinisterra, Harrison, Aronson, etc., not disappeared on us kind of thing. I honestly wouldn't think they've shined. We've used that opportunity to our advantage. Similar in midfield, like a Mark Rocker, you wouldn't have seen a Glenn Kamara come through, who's much more suited to the Championship. Now, I'm not saying he's better than Mark Rocker, I'm just saying he's much more suited to the Championship. And probably English football in general, if we're being totally honest. We've used our opportunities, and this Leeds team is far, far better than the Leeds team last season.
Oh, mate, this team that's playing now, if you could play one against the other, would absolutely wallop that team from last season. Wallop it.
Imagine Rutter up against Juventus and Cork.
Mate, he'd be dining out, wouldn't he? Light a fag and have a beer with him and still take the mick. Just like,
You're real, mate.
And do you know what? A lot of us, and I think fairly last season, it was an awful thing. And, sadly, through the managers as well, Gio sort of became one of the fall guys because of it. And really, you look back now and it's good to reflect and go, the kid had come in from a different country into what was quite clearly a toxic environment in that club and in that dressing room, and was expected, because we paid £35 million for him, to fix it. What kind of pressure is that on a 20-year-old lad's shoulders? And now clearly Farke's put, like you say, Gio said he wants to stay. He's never made any noise about leaving, and Dortmund was sniffing around him. And Farke's clearly trusts him and has put his arm around him and said, you're my lad. You're one of my boys. You're going to light this up. And he's a different kid, mate. He's loving it at the minute. It's so good to see.
Are we saying Victor also made a good decision? No, we can't give credit. No, I will
I'm
not.
Still not giving credit for the money, because what we needed, people are trying to do it now. I see it online, but Gio Rutter was not the player we needed last season when we brought him in. We needed a seasoned professional who might get us 8 to 10 goals in the second half of the season, not a young kid trying to find his feet in a new
season as well. Like when the season's already a complete mess.
Exactly, mate. So no, Orta doesn't get any credit because
I'm only joking now. I was very much joking just to be on the lineup. But no, even if Gio Rutter, in the end leaves Leeds for like 80 million, I will not be giving Victor Orta any tiny bit of credit for that anyway. But I was just thinking there was one last thing I wanted to move on to. What was that last thing I wanted to move on to? I was trying to think what it was. Right, Illan Meslier. I've just watched the save back. That is absolutely phenomenal. And do you think now Illan Meslier from that, let's be honest, I don't want to be critical. People say, why are you criticising players when we've just beaten Leicester 1-0? Illan Meslier probably hasn't had a good season so far this season, or it's been average so far this season. That could be the save that changes this season potentially in terms of confidence, because he's not had a save like that for a long, long time. In terms of match-winning save, a save of that quality, it's a save of the season. It's the Meslier of 2020, 2021, that save.
Yeah,
could this be a turning point for Meslier in terms of pure shot stopping, in terms of getting that confidence back in his game in that element?
I really hope so, mate, because season 1 back in the Premier League under Bielsa, we saw he was a supreme shot stopper, because we still got opened up a lot in that first season. But Meslier was magnificent. And I hope so, mate. I do. And he was another one that, I'm not going to lie, mate, at the end of last season, I was like, get out, get gone. But he's stuck around. Why he stuck around, we don't know. Is it a case that no one came sniffing or whatever? But that doesn't matter. He's here. He hasn't sulked. He's got on with it. He's got his head down. And that save tonight. And it makes it even better that he had nothing to do for 96 minutes and then pulls it out the bag. And the best angle of it, which I'm sure you've just seen, is actually from behind the goal on the angle. That thing is halfway across the line and he claws it out. It's a superb save. And fully deserved as in for the performance, because if they score last minute there, we feel robbed at one.
Oh, mate, our chat is completely different. We're talking about, why did you sub on Bamford? Why did you sub on Gruev? Why did you do this? But it's football, isn't it? It's a game of margins. And we've had so much bad luck this season. We deserved that. We really did. And it wasn't even luck today. The difference in quality, if you had to guess, like, which team was the team chasing top 2, which team was the team that's set to break a points record, you'd have said us to break the points records, because we're so dominant and controlled. And it's one of them. Obviously, this isn't how football works, but if you be that, we've won at Ipswich, we've won at Leicester.
Yeah.
But how mad is that? How mad is that? We've gone away to both teams and we've won.
Yeah, let's be honest, mate. We had a slow start. We won 2 of the first 7 or something. But that's understandable with everything that was going on at the football club. So we've started on the back foot, whereas Ipswich came up and have ridden the crest of a wave, like we did, like a lot of teams do when they go Championship to Premier League. That first season back, you ride that crest of a wave. Leicester obviously
our crest of a wave, unfortunately, had Ken Bates at the end of it, and he said, "No, you're not going to enjoy yourself. We stay in the Championship."
Yeah, it's and then Leicester got business done early, did good business. Got the manager in early, who's a very, very good manager as well. He got outmanaged tonight, but he is a very good. You don't get 39 points in your first 14 games or whatever it is. And
I just think he's a massive fraud, to be honest with you, mate. But
just relied on KDH, as they call him.
KDH.
Yeah.
Oh no. He was. He was.
But yeah, so we started behind the curve slightly this season. But there is absolutely no reason why this squad with this manager is not sat in that top 2 at the end of the season and going back to the Premier League for me. Like you say, we've had now 2 statement performances in the fact we've gone away to both and beaten them. But this one feels bigger. This feels like it's a real statement to the whole league of, yeah, we're here and, you know, we're coming for you. And we're going to steamroll a few teams this season. There's going to be a few Huddersfields happen this season for me, because if teams give us a hair's breadth, certainly around the back line, we're going to absolutely tear them to shreds. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, for Meslier to come back from that mistake against, I know it didn't cost us anything in the game, but Meslier to come back from a pretty awful mistake, you know, in Huddersfield, you know, a particularly poor one, you know, it's massive, and it just shows the character, togetherness is there. And yeah, I think we're coming up to 45 minutes now, mate. I think we've probably covered most of what we wanted to cover, unless there's anything else you want to discuss there, mate.
I'm just trying to think. We probably haven't given him enough props. I know I mentioned it at the beginning, but I thought Dan James was right up there tonight as well. You know, there'll always be the things about Dan James that irritate us sometimes. You know, a couple of crosses went a bit wayward, but I thought his work rate was superb. Some great touch as well. And finally, we got a delivery into the box that just beats the first man, and look what happens. We score from it. So I thought it was brilliant, mate. There wasn't a weak man in that performance tonight. I thought they were all superb. Just buzzing for them, and hopefully now, like you say, and I do think this team's capable of a run under Farker. I really do. I think we're and maybe we're just hitting that stride now. If we can go on a run now from now till Christmas, which tends to be our awful point of a season, does Christmas historically. If we can go on a run from now till then, mate, and come out of the new year and be, at the very least, climbing all over Ipswich and maybe even a Leicester, who knows, but certainly climbing all over Ipswich, then I fancy us second half of the season to really kick on again and just rip the league apart for a few months. So yeah,
exactly. I mean, we're on a really good run now. You know, if we take the Stoke game out of it, we've put a real run together since, and Sam, we just keep getting those. We like to do 3 out of 4 really good jobs, and we just mess one up. But to be fair, if we continue to do that, we're going to be up there.
Yeah.
If we continue to win 3 out of 4, we're still going to be like 9 points every 4 games. It's over 2 points a game. That's going to close in on Leicester, Leicester and Ipswich pretty quickly.
Yeah, definitely, mate. And you know, it's like start of the season. You've got to think that, you know, we were sat 17th after a few games, and Leicester and Ipswich were already off and gone. They were, you know, just running through everyone. And then we went to Ipswich and beat them. And that sort of started, I think, the turn for us. And now we're sat 3rd. And, you know, we'll be 3rd, whatever the results are tomorrow and over the weekend. So we
I don't see us dropping from 3rd. I think 3rd is minimum now. I think genuinely there'll be a gap that will build between 3rd and 4th. I think that is the best 3 teams this season by distance. I don't think anyone behind. I can't see anyone really making that run up to the top 3 now. I think that's your top 3 for the season now. That, you know, whatever.
We're definitely chasing rather than looking over our shoulder, which is a nice play. Maybe at this stage of the season, I like it. I like being the hunters and not the hunted. I do. All you're doing when you're at top of the league early doors is waiting for it all to fall apart.
But we're doing the chasing. We're doing the chasing for once. But mate, it's exciting times, man. It's exciting times. Well, guys, if you have enjoyed this video, hit that comment button. No, not hit that comment button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button and get in the comments as well. I don't know how many of you will be able to see this live, but if you haven't, apologies for that. Hopefully it has gone through live. We'll be able to see it on YouTube now. Well, you know you'll be able to see it on YouTube now if you've been watching it. I'm going to finish the video now because I'm absolutely buzzing, because Leeds have beaten the best championship team of all time away from home to become the best championship team of all time.
I've got one more thing that I want to ask the people who watch this channel to do, and this is the first time I'm going to do it, and I spoke to you earlier about it, is everyone knows by now that I've been playing a lot of golf. You play golf. Jack's a golfer. We want a 3-on-3 scramble against Tubes and Jimmy Bullard. Get tagging them. Get them in. We want to take... Either they come on All Leeds TV and we'll do something with Tash and everyone filming it, or we'll go on theirs, but let's have it. 3-on-3 scramble. Let's do it.
He's confident. Chris McElroy over there is confident at this moment in time. He's on it. He's actually absolutely on fire at this moment in time. He'd be a scratch golfer by the time we played them.
18 months, mate. That's the aim. 18 months to be a scratcher. Yeah.
Absolutely unreal. Make sure you check out CK's golfing tips as well on Insta as well. Mate, the way you're hitting those irons at this moment in time, absolutely glorious stuff, mate. You're hitting them like Judy Rusa, honestly, man.
Sweet.
Real. Sweet, man. Anyway, guys, do check it out. Do tag Tubes and Jimmy Bullard. We do want to tag him, even if it's just to call them out. It's worth it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching, and we will see you later. We might do a player rating. Should you fancy a player rating, CK, maybe tomorrow?
Yeah, there might be 1 or 2 10s flying around.
I think it might be worth it. No 7.5s or 6.5s.
No 0.5s.
Bit of a Phil Miles dig there, but we love Phil Miles. I think we do.
We do.
We'll leave
He's
it
on
there.
holiday at the minute.
Thanks for watching.
Phil.
See you later, guys.